and we have achieved our goal of having more people in the audience than presenters, so step one is achieved. We're used to being stuck behind kind of a impersonal email alias, so it's fun to be here and see people in person, smiling faces, all that. So before we start talking about ourselves, questions for people in the audience. How many people are software vendors? All right. Security researchers? Cool. Oops. IT pros? All right. Schadenfreude fans, just people here? All right, cool. Glad to see representation there. Just here for the food. I guess our food is coming up soon. Anyway, so that's cool. We got a good cross section here, and we can kind of tailor our talk to the audience.
Okay, so introducing ourselves, I'm Wendy Poland, and as Dave mentioned, we're part of the Adobe Product Security Incident Response Team, otherwise known as PSIRT, which we'll use that acronym quite often. It's a subgroup of ASSET at Adobe, which is the Adobe Secure Software Engineering Team. And I'm actually located here in the East Coast in our Boston office, which is in Waltham. And a little bit about myself. I have a program management background, and I've previously worked at Stake and Symantec.
Cool. So I'm Dave. I'm product security program manager. I've worked for about 5 years on PSIRT, a bit longer than that, going back to the Macromedia days. And I've worked, basically my background, I worked on the Dreamweaver product at Macromedia. Most notably, I guess, QA manager on the Dreamweaver product. So what you see here is a picture of my cube. If you can't tell, it's covered in tinfoil. So this happened when I was on my sabbatical, which is a great Adobe benefit we get. So I came back covered in tinfoil. There's some saran wrap in there, I don't know. The tinfoil obviously to block the signals. I'm not sure what the saran wrap is for. And you'll see my nickname there apparently is Zero Dave, so kind of not the best nickname, but, and this is our San Francisco office. So a brief overview of PSIRT. I'm not going to get into depth here. See the pirate flag. We're pirates, we're also ninjas. You'll see ninjas later. So got some grandiose ideas about ourselves. So we receive reports via psirt@adobe.com. That's the alias. We've got a web form on our website to report vulnerabilities as well. 90% plus of the vulnerabilities are responsibly disclosed. So thank you to the security researchers here who report stuff to us. Sorry. So yeah, thanks to the security researchers. That's a huge part of what we do. Wendy and I, the two of us, handle most of the correspondence, but we got a lot of people behind the scenes. We've got technical contacts on the PSIRT team, security researchers, as well as proactive security researchers on the overarching umbrella group, ASSET. And we have researchers on product teams as well. And security-focused developers. So, the bullseye on our back. We get it. We understand that we're a target. We've got Ubiquity. We've got 98% plus of desktops. So we understand that. We're reacting to that, and we call it the Ubiquity tax. Basically, our runtimes, Reader, Flash Player, and Air, they're everywhere, so that's why we're focused. And we're responding to the added attention we're getting. That's why we're here. And the last thing here, although we mean our feature set to be used for benevolent purposes, this quote from our founder shows, the bad guys are resourceful, so. So this is a metric, just a quick chart showing the number of valid vulnerability reports that we receive per quarter. You can see it's trending upwards a bit. So this is a handy metric to show to, for instance, executives they know that we're a focus. They know that a lot of stuff is going around security for Adobe, but this just reinforces it, obviously. And anything else? Yeah, so just to note, all these vulnerabilities are not reported against Reader or Flash Player. In fact, the number of reports going against Reader is actually going down. But one thing, when your name is out there in the security community, basically any products that are associated with your name become a target. So we get reports against products that we didn't even know we supported anymore. So fun stuff like that. So what we're going to talk about, the best way to understand what we do is to walk through a case study. So we're going to talk about a 0-day that happened and just kind of walk through some of the steps that happened. So that should be instructive and show you what we do. And what we hope you'll get out of this talk, if you're a vendor, obviously, hopefully you'll learn what from what has happened to us. We've learned from what other software companies have done. For instance, Microsoft. And hopefully you can learn from us. And as well, we want you to learn about what we're doing to protect customers. And if you're a researcher, you can laugh at our misfortune, stuff like that. So we've got dedicated security resources, as we talked about. I don't want to get too in-depth here, but we have proactive work going on. Everything that you would hope and expect we would do, threat modeling and static code analysis, fuzzing, secure build flags, stuff like that. We're going to talk about a certification program, asset certification program that we have internally. It's a homegrown thing that we did. So we're proud of it, so we'll describe that. And on the PSIRT side, Wendy and I, in a lot of ways, we bridge the gap between the proactive and the reactive. So people on the front lines, like the IT admins and the researchers, and then the people on the back end who are doing the development within Adobe.
Getting tangled up here.
If we can manage.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our workflow. As Dave mentioned, we get information from a variety of channels, most often researchers. We also, though, get information from support team, customers, of course, public postings, and internal notifications. Once we receive this type of information, we go through a process to track it and basically make sure that we're tracking it from time of report all the way through. The other piece of the puzzle is we have a triage team as part of PSIRT to obviously make sure reports are valid and once so determine criticality of those reports. Then once we've triaged it, we're obviously also working with the product team. They do their own triage. And asset is often involved. That's more of our proactive piece, and they're pretty much involved from start to finish. They'll look at the triage to make sure we're looking at all different components. They'll be a part of workaround conversations, the ultimate fix, thinking about the schedule, and of course making sure all proactive measures are updated along the way. Communication, of course, with the external researchers is very important to us, and we make sure that we are keeping that communication going along the way. Then, of course, ultimately, the product team creates the patch and fix, and we'll be working on making sure the bulletin details are released. We will have a verification process to make sure that, of course, the fix ultimately fixes the issue. The product team, QE is involved, PSIRT, of course, gets re-involved, our triage team, to double check. And again, asset researchers potentially will throw it back to them to double check as well. And then ultimately, we'll post it to the public so everyone is aware of the fix. Okay, so we're going to talk about a case study as